My teaching philosophy is to instill a lot of confidence in students. One thing I notice at the beginning of every semester, I'll have at least a handful of students come up to me and be like, I can't write a paper. I've tried, I'm not very good at it. I've never been able to formulate my thoughts into words the way I can when I'm speaking out loud. I cannot do it in written form. And I don't believe that. I think that every person, every student is capable of writing at least 3 to 5 good papers, if not more. I think that everyone has the gift and the talent of self-expression. And I think that my job as a composition teacher and as an English teacher and a writing instructor is to get students to realize that they have that talent. They have that ability to take their thoughts, their beliefs, whatever, and formulate the right wording for those themes, ideas, beliefs. And part of my class begins with sort of being comfortable enough to talk about what it is you think, about certain prompts, about things that you're interested in and good with, that you care about. And after a student gets comfortable at doing that, I think the student therefore becomes a better writer because it seems second nature. And then when the student's comfortable enough, you can start throwing more challenges at them. At this point, a lot of the times the students are enjoying what we're doing, and they like the class, and they like talking, and they like writing about what it is they want to write about. And when they get comfortable like that, their confidence goes up. They think, I'm really good at this, actually. And that's when I can start challenging them, throwing things that they weren't expecting or that they might not know initially how to talk about, but through that confidence and that comfort, and kind of leaning into what I think is honestly just like the fun creativity of writing and of literature and English and all the things that go with that, and just self-expression. That comfort takes over, and that interest in the subject prevails, and they end up at the end of the semester, these same students that were like, I don't think I can write anything, they go, look at what I just wrote, look at what I just turned in. And I love that. To me, I think everybody's capable of that, and that's the whole point of this. I'm inspired by a lot of people. The first one off the top of my head is the whole reason I do this is my wife. Mallory Burnett teaches at ANC as well. I'm privileged to get to work with her. She's one of the best English teachers I've ever met in my life, and of course the best person I've ever met in my life too. She's one of the people that helped me get back into a master's program and get interested in doing this because I looked at what she was doing at that time and thought, I would love to do that. I'm inspired by so many people as well as her. My parents are great inspirations for me. Their comfort and pride in what I do is one of the reasons that I think I'm responsive with students, is I treat them the way they want to be treated. I learned that at home. I learned that from my mom and dad and from my brother. And his son, my nephew Bennett, is a new source of inspiration from me. I want to make this a good world for him. And I'm inspired by students. Students, when I see a student make a good grade or overcome something that they didn't think they could do, that's the best inspiration in the world, and that's the fuel that keeps the fire going. My favorite pastime, I love to watch movies. I like to watch TV shows too, but I think my favorite art form outside of novels are films. I watch movies all the time. That's pretty much all I do when I'm not working, other than maybe playing video games or reading a book. That's the first art form I fell in love with, or watching films, and maybe even more so talking about movies. All of my friends and I get together and talk about movies. My family, we do the same thing, and my coworkers, and a lot of time my students. That's what we talk about for the most part. I could talk about movies all day. It's my dream to teach a film class at a college level. I did that in high school, and it was one of the best classes I ever taught. Not just because the work was so good from students, but because I enjoyed it so much. It doesn't feel like work when it has to do with things you love. Filmmaking and the discussion of filmmaking and film watching, that's it for me. I love that so much. This is such a fun art form, and I think it brings people together, and it just makes me feel good to do it. If I could teach another discipline, it would be history. I was a good history student in high school and in college. One of my best teachers ever was Lee Sullivan. She was my high school history teacher. Her passion for that subject made me interested in it, and I also just look at it and see all of these like great larger than life characters and events. There's so much like just rich power when it comes to history, and that's one of the reasons why I think we see so many novels and films based on historical events, and I don't think that's lost on students that enjoy it in classes. I'm kind of a stealthy history teacher in some ways. I think my Comp 2 class incorporates a lot of historical elements into it. Our term papers based on historical events that a lot of students don't know much about, and when they start to get interested in studying that, their passion for the past becomes alive because they can apply it to the present, and I love that. So if I could teach anything that wasn't English, it would be history, although for me the two overlap significantly. Favorite music, I was raised on a lot of classic rock. My parents' favorite band is the Eagles. I love the Eagles. I kind of veer into more of like the psychedelic prog rock of the 70s, so I love Pink Floyd, and some bluesy rock like Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. I think that kind of goes without saying. Favorite band, if I had to narrow it down, isn't really part of that era, but it's one I found in high school, very famous band, Beastie Boys. They were a rap group, but they also dabbled in jazz and rock, and I think it was that diversity of their music that like caught fire with me when I was like 15 years old. All I wanted to talk about and listen to were the Beastie Boys, and that really hasn't changed too much. So I would say I listen to a lot of classic rock plus the Beastie Boys, although I guess you could say now we're old enough that the Beastie Boys are part of classic rock because I hear it on classic rock stations, which dates me a little bit. My favorite movie is tough. I want to say it's 2001: A Space Odyssey because I saw that as a kid and it really blew my mind. But that's not a movie that I think I could watch at any time. Honestly, that's a very artful, philosophical movie that I love, but I can't just sit and watch that on a Saturday afternoon. I would have to say Ghostbusters. Honestly, Ghostbusters is a movie I grew up on. I could probably watch Ghostbusters every day because it's such a comfortable movie and reminds me so much of my youth. I can quote it. I got to visit the firehouse that they filmed it at in New York, which was like a moment that hit me more emotionally than I thought it would. So Ghostbusters, I could say that without any snobbery, I think. The last book I read was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. He also wrote The Martian. He does a lot of these like hard sci-fi books that are just kind of crowd-pleasing, sweet stories that have a lot of heavy science jargon in it. But the books are really entertaining and they make you feel pretty smart when you read it. They just made Project Hail Mary into a movie. It's the whole reason I read the book, was to kind of prep for the movie because I thought it looked good. Book is fantastic. The movie's also really fantastic. It's rare that you find an adaptation to be that good. So I would recommend it though to read the book first and then watch the movie. That'd be my recommendation. If I could go anywhere, it'd be London, England. I've never had a chance to go to Europe. It's on my bucket list. I love Europe, specifically English culture, so much because of the literature, the art. I grew up watching James Bond movies and reading William Shakespeare and reading Harry Potter and watching Fawlty Towers and Monty Python. There's so much of that culture that's just in my love of the arts. And if I could go anywhere, it would be London, England, just because I've romanticized it so much in my head. Best advice I ever got was from a teacher I had in my master's program at Arkansas State University. Her name was Christy Costello. She told me before my first class that I ever taught, she could tell that I was quite nervous. She said, "Fake it till you make it." Basically, if you're nervous about it, don't let them see that. They're going to immediately get nervous with you, or they're going to think that you're a weak teacher. Walk in like you own the place and you know everything that you're talking about and everything that you're saying is right. Eventually, if you do that enough, you'll start to feel that way and it will click. I tell my students this too. A lot of them are very nervous about writing papers or giving presentations. They think they're not very good at it. And I've said, pretend that you are. And eventually you will be, because it worked for me at this job. One thing people might not know about me, although if they looked at me enough they could probably figure out, I eat a lot of pizza. That's my favorite food. If I could, that'd be all I can eat. I consider myself a pizza connoisseur. So when I go to New York, that's all I want to eat are different New York mom and pop pizza places. It's just my favorite food, and I think it goes back to when I was a kid. Pizza was always like a reward. If I did something well, if I behaved well or made a good grade on something, Mom and Dad would get pizza for the night. And I remember when I was a kid thinking, why can't we do this every night? Why can't I have pizza for every meal? And I think I told myself, when you grow up, you'll have the power to do that. And so here I am as an adult, living my childhood dream, although I probably shouldn't. I eat pizza way too much, but it's my favorite thing, like food-wise, and I could eat it right now if he handed me a slice.